Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we will be looking at a clip that shows the Airbnb was painted. Also, we are going to look at some messages from Lucy that were exposed by a TikTok creator because when she was questioned about Jay's disappearance, she said things that don't add up at all considering what we know now. The first thing that we are going to look at is this clip of the Airbnb, because this video suggests that it was painted. So as you can see, this video shows us that the Airbnb was painted at some point, but when? Because I don't know the exact date of the video, but I'm guessing it was after Jay went missing, because that's what most people have said, and that's why people think it's a bit suspicious. To be fair, we need to know the exact date that it was painted, because if it was before the forensics team managed to search the Airbnb, then it's very questionable, because that could suggest that something was being hidden. But if the Airbnb had been searched already, then I'm sure they would have found what they were trying to hide. There are also other reasons, because maybe the work had already been arranged and it was just a coincidence, but I am finding that hard to believe, because the Airbnb could have been a potential crime scene, and even though Ayub and Rocky were cleared immediately, there still could have been some evidence there. So why would the police allow work to be done to the Airbnb while it's involved in an investigation? Another thing that could link to this is Ayub's review that he left, because he mentioned the cleaner and said that she was very good to him. So did she arrange a quick paint job to help hide something that could help solve this case? So we really need to know what date the Airbnb was painted. So if any of you guys have the answer, please leave it down in the comments and let me know what you think about this. Was there something suspicious going on here? The next thing that we are going to look at is what Lucy said to Haley. And unless Haley is just reading out made-up messages, which would be crazy, I think we have some more lies here.
Full thing is just weird. So she says, and another thing that blows my mind, it was me who rang the police. It was me who rang the British Embassy. It was me who rang the British Consulate. It was me who had the posters made. It was me who made the report. It was me out looking for him for days on end with no sleep and food. It was me who found the house he was at before the police even decided to start investigating. It was me who actually made it so public by posting on TikTok. It was me asking anyone I walked past if they had seen him. It was me who asked at every cafe and bar in the Mascot area, and it was me who had to tell his poor old mum. It was me bawling my eyes out with so many questions as to where he was and what happened, and yet it's still me that's getting all this hate, when all I can think about is where my best friend is, and how we were having the holiday of a lifetime, and now he's not coming home.
So Lucy says that it was her who found the Airbnb before anyone else. But the problem with this is that I think it's easy to find somewhere that you were already at before. Then Lucy says that it was her who had to tell Jay's mom. But I think we heard Debbie say that Lucy didn't ring her when it happened. And apparently she found out when police knocked on her door at like 2 or 3 in the morning, or through Facebook. The last thing that Lucy says in this first message is that all she can think about is where her best friend is, but why leave Tenerife before Jay was found? Unless you already knew that Jay was going to be found dead. Because if you did nothing wrong and truly believed that Jay was missing, you would have stayed there and helped until he was found. But instead, you left when the situation got too hard to handle. So is he really your bestest friend if you can't tell the truth?
Begs the question, where was best friend Brad? You all know Jay's missing and Brad is his best friend. We're like brothers. Where are you, Brad? Because last time I heard, you were a full-bodied teenager who should have loads of energy, that you couldn't even search the mountains once. You can't even put up a poster. And then I say, do you have a call list of that day So I can see that you've called the police, the British Embassy and the consulate. And I said, obviously block out any other numbers that aren't involved, but just show me the calls you made to the authorities. And she said, I don't anymore. I've had so many spam callers, it's long gone, I deleted it. And I'm like, you deleted the one thing that could prove you were telling the truth. And she's like, I didn't realise I would need it. So then I say, a lot of people are thinking you set Jay up because you knew, the news said the men were your associates, because it did, it's in the newspaper, they were your associates. I said, and yet you said they were strangers to Jay, and then Brad said they'd known each other for 2 days. So which one was it? And she said, I haven't met them until the night before, which was literally very, very brief. So I presumed they were strangers. Brad said him and Jay had spent time with them previous days, but I wasn't there, so I wasn't aware of it. And I said, oh, so she said every day after the festival, I went straight where the boys went on after, which is where they must have met them. And I said, so you weren't with the boys at all, apart from the Energy Festival? And she said, yeah, no, I was with the boys all the time, apart from after the festival. Thank you, Brie. And I was like,
The next thing that Lucy says is that she didn't meet up with Ayub until the day before Jay went missing, and in the previous days, Brad and Jay met Ayub on their own, because again, after the festival, Lucy seemed to disappear. So that's why she called them strangers. But Ayub tells us in his podcast that he met them all on the same day, and that was the first day of NRG. So their stories don't add up. That happens a lot between Lucy and Ayub. They throw each other under the bus a lot. So it's not surprising that they apparently had an argument.
I asked about the scuffle video outside Sugar Reef. She asked me to send it to her. I did. And then she just said, she didn't answer me about that. And then I said, so now they've named one of the guys at the B&B, you must recognise him surely. And she said, I recognise him, yes. As I say, I saw him briefly when I found the house. I've worked with the investigators to try and locate him, but it was difficult because I don't know his friends and I don't know any of his friends' names. Then I said later on, why didn't you tell me Jay had stole a watch then? Because you told me he didn't, because it had just been released that day. And she's like, he didn't tell me he'd stolen anything. Firstly, he wouldn't tell me anyway because he knows I'd go mental, because it's not a good thing to do. And secondly, it's dangerous, especially when you're abroad. He's never stolen anything of anyone before, and it's not within his character. So he was obviously very drunk or coerced into doing so. And I said, so I just literally was like, okay.
So Haley tells Lucy that Ayub has been identified and that she must recognize him, and she says that she does, because she saw him briefly when she found the house. But again, according to the document, Lucy was already at the Airbnb, so she definitely knew who Ayub was. Not only that, but she says that she worked with investigators to try and locate him, and that investigator might be Mark Williams Thomas. But apparently she didn't know Ayub or any of his friends' names, so it was hard to locate him. But I think she's missing someone out who actually is Ayub's friend and does know him. And that is Brandon, because apparently him and Ayub are boys, and Lucy definitely knows Brandon. So when she says that she doesn't know any of Ayub's friends, she clearly didn't expect Ayub to come out and say that him and Brandon have known each other for a while, because that proves that she lied. Lucy also talks about the stolen watch, and she claims that Jay never told her about the stolen watch and that it's not like Jay to do that. She also says that he must have been coerced into doing it. So it sounds like she's low-key pointing the finger at Ayub and Rocky again by saying that Jay wouldn't do it, but someone could have made him do it. So how come Lucy didn't know anything about the stolen watch? Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we will update you as we find out more.